December 4th, 1201. The cold wind tore relentlessly across the Khenti mountains, whipping swirling sheets of snow into furious white curtains that blanketed the rugged terrain. Far below, the endless steppe stretched like an ancient canvas. Vast, silent and unforgiving, it was a land of sharp contrasts where beauty and brutality danced in equal measure. On a jagged ridge under a bruised iron-grey sky stood a solitary figure. His eyes burned with quiet fury, a focused blaze that cut through the biting cold. His bow was drawn taut, every muscle coiled like a spring. This was Zurgadai, a fierce archer of the Taichi-Ud clan, sworn enemy of Temujin, the man who would soon be known across the world as Genghis Khan, the supreme leader of the Mongol tribes. Zurgadai's world had been shattered to fragments. His home lay in ashes, his people scattered like whispers on the wind. The weight of loss pressed on him like a crushing storm, yet beneath it all, his spirit remained unbroken. The biting cold could never touch the fire burning deep in his heart, a fire of vengeance, a promise that burned with every labored breath. The wind tore at his fur-lined cloak, but he stood unmoved, a lone figure against the tempest, a beacon of defiance. Legends whispered through the campfires and taverns of the steppe spoke of his skill, his arrows that could pierce, a target from 100 paces away that struck without warning and with deadly precision. It was said he could split an arrow on a distant target, his calm unshakable even in the chaos of battle. The Mongols feared the name Zurgadai, for he was the archer who could turn the tide of any fight with a single swift volley. The fateful day came on the frozen banks of the Erdina River. Snow mixed with the smoke of battle, churning hooves stamped the hard earth, and cries of war echoed against the stark cliffs. Zurgadai led a band of no more than 50 archers against a vastly larger Mongol force. But he was not merely a leader, he was a storm incarnate. His arrows flew like thunderbolts, cutting through the smoky air and felling warriors who had seemed invincible moments before. The battlefield trembled beneath the fury he unleashed, and in the heart of that chaos rode Genghis Khan himself. Tall, commanding, eyes like molten steel, moving through the carnage with unyielding purpose. Zurgadai stepped forward, undeterred by the legend before him. His heart beat steady, his hands held firm. With unyielding resolve, he grabbed an arrow and drew back the string, his breath crystallizing in the cold air. Time seemed to slow. A sudden gust of wind, gentle but persistent, shifted the arrows. Flight just enough. It missed its intended mark, the heart of the man who had shattered Zurgadai's past. Instead, it grazed Genghis Khan's cheek, drawing a thin line of blood, a whisper of defiance on frozen flesh. Then, unexpectedly, the great Khan laughed. It was not a laugh of cruelty or scorn, but one filled with a rare spark of admiration and respect. Instead of calling for the archer's death, Genghis commanded that he be taken alive. Zurgadai was brought into the Mongol camp, not as a prisoner chained in disgrace, but welcomed beside the firelight, given food, and enveloped in a silence thick with unspoken meaning. Days passed, with only the flicker of flame and the endless watch of cold night skies. Then one evening, Genghis Khan entered the tent where the archer sat, a moment heavy with promise and fate. Without a word, the Khan placed a bow on the ground between them. A simple gesture, yet more profound than any vow. That moment sealed Zurgadai's destiny. He was no longer an enemy, he was a warrior reborn. From that day forward, he took a new name, Jebe, meaning the arrow, a title reflecting his deadly precision and newfound purpose. Jebe did not pledge blind loyalty or friendship. His allegiance was forged in clarity and understanding. The world was no longer divided by old grudges, but by strength and survival. In Genghis Khan, he saw a force destined to reshape history itself. Jebe's reputation grew far beyond his beginnings. He perfected the impossible art of shooting accurately from horseback at full gallop, training hundreds of archers to move as a silent, deadly storm. His arrows struck unseen, unheard, cutting down foes before they could react. He was the eye of the storm, calm amid chaos, precise and relentless. During the siege of Chengdu in 1215, faced with walls believed impregnable and defenders armed, with deadly crossbows, Jebe masterminded a night attack that became legend. Using smoke, darkness, and meticulously timed movements, his unit silenced enemy towers without a single sound. The defenders never saw their demise coming. Elevated to the rank of Noyan, Jebe commanded tens of thousands of warriors. He fought alongside legendary generals like Subutai, whose names would be etched into the annals of history as masters of war. Yet Jebe sought no glory, no lands to rule, no crown to wear. He lived like a shadow, appearing only when the world demanded his silent wrath. In 1223, during the campaign against the Kievan Rus, Jebe pursued the fleeing enemies deep into the frozen Carpathian mountains. Amid icy cliffs and silent, snow-laden forests, he stumbled upon a truth he never expected. Survivors of his own tribe, the Taichi-ud, scattered and broken, hidden from the relentless Mongol storm, they did not recognize the silent warrior standing before them. Time and war had hardened his features, and years had made him a ghost of the man they once knew. An old, blind chieftain spoke of forgotten times. Songs of their ancestors filled the icy night air. For the first time in decades, Jebe heard the laughter of children learning the bow, the names of fathers long gone, the fierce hope that once burned within him, that night beneath a sky filled. With cold stars seeming to watch over him, Jebe stood guard, bow in hand. His path was no longer with the Mongol horde. When news of Jebe's absence reached Genghis Khan, the great Khan rode alone into the mountains. At dawn, he found Jebe standing silent on a rocky outcrop, gazing into the distance. The meeting spoke, volumes without a single word. Genghis Khan turned his horse and rode away. Jebe remained in the wild, living out his days among the mountain tribes. He taught the next generation the art of survival, how to bend the bow, move with the wind, and face the world with steady eyes and a calm heart. Though his name faded from the grand chronicles of conquest, whispers of Jebe endured. An archer who moved like the wind, a warrior whose arrows shaped the fate of empires. His legacy lives not in monuments or crowns, but in the echo of every soul who rises beyond hatred and pain. A warrior forged by loss, reshaped by purpose. A man who proves that even in the coldest winds of history, the human spirit endures and sometimes transcends. Jebe the Archer, the arrow that flew beyond vengeance, forever etched into the saga of the Mongol Empire.